learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in on February 11, 2021, and the weed stocks are squeezing the stock market. You are seeing the short squeeze mania return, but this time in weed stocks. So a lot of people are talking about it. I'm expecting we should see more publicity on this, and it's kind of playing out on the same time frame, a little bit more delayed than last time. So how we come into Friday and the rest of this week, it is going to be interesting, but we also saw a lot of interesting moves in the market today. It kind of spooked some people. So we have a lot to talk about. I want to go over what happened in the market today, all of the plays that we made. We actually didn't make any, but we have to respond to earnings, and then the plays that we are looking at for next week. And I even have some good examples of a frogger to show you, so I hope you're ready. But let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's at first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free $99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/TheStockMarket. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life. And yes, young chat, you don't need to feel down. I said, young chat. And the most important thing you need to do, post watch below. That's what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, free mixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Shout out to chat, baby. So right off the bat, you could see by today's chart, we gapped up and then we sold off pretty heavy today. And this was kind of the main story in the morning. We even saw the Chad VIX go up. Yes, I have Powell as my background on my screen. It's like a rosary. But we saw that morning shock today despite some of that good data. So we got the inflation report. We even saw energy stocks go up. We saw somewhat of a correlation today. We talked about it, but a lot of people were trying to explain what we saw today. I'd say there's many reasons, and it could be that continuing short squeeze. So now have the weed stock mania, and I put mania in quotations because every single week since GameStop, there's been something else. We saw it with the biotech just last week. That was already kind of short-lived. It didn't get the same traction the week before. Right after GameStop, started hearing about this silver short squeeze and all of that. So we need to see what happens. This might stick, but you've already seen a big move, and it's kind of crept under the nose of a lot of people, and it's related to policy. So I think it could work, but we're seeing a similar rush to a lot of these names today. Again, it wasn't just weed stocks that went up. A lot of the random names were even holding some of those old naked plays. Those went up a little bit today, but even GameStop started shooting up out of nowhere. So it affected a lot of stocks. And then this is what I'm saying. You kind of saw that liquidation effect where if there's still a lot of shorts out there and then some of these stocks move too much, other names get sold off to kind of cover and account for it. Again, there's a lot of things going on underneath the surface, and that's what we got to learn from that whole experience last time. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on, especially if it develops big tomorrow or even Friday. Again, I wouldn't be surprised to kind of see a burn one day and they kind of hold the gains, and then Friday will be the true judge of it. But I am definitely tying them into the movement we saw today because we did get a very interesting day. Although we have seen this pattern where a lot of the moves are happening in the first hour and a half, and last hour and a half of the days not doing too much, but we kind of hung around this close here. So you can see we had a little bit of a boost, and that boost came from none other than Powell. So he did have these inflation comments. It was good, and even everything he was saying did support this overlying stimulus. That news that's been overhanging, again, we've been talking about it as that cherry on top, but he didn't have any real comments about inflation being too much. Even with the data today, it seems like he is in line with the administration objectives, or at least passively supports the stimulus. But we even talked about today what he went over, employment. So even though we had inflation data, a lot of people are looking at it, we are getting another reiteration from Powell that they're using this metric of employment, which has been a recent target or switch that they did in the last few months, because primarily the Fed was really focused on just inflation and hitting those targets. And even Powell said today, it's not about these targets or projections, it's about getting to a level and staying there, but unemployment is going to be the key focus of the Fed. So that was overall positive. Those were the main things today. I do think trading activity from earnings, but mainly some of this squeeze and weed mania, if it does get traction, that will be key, because otherwise the market has been trading in that melt up mode. So we're going to see how we play into these next few weeks of February, but we are almost done with half of the month. So what happens in this next 2 weeks is going to be interesting, and I hope you're ready, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I have a few different plays, but one of the plays we already made today, and a lot of people were talking about this today, and overall it was an outperformer, but this is one I want to show you a little bit with the frog, Airbnb. So I got this play at the beginning of the week. We talked about it. The stock bounced back today, but so did the option, because this is an option with a little bit amount of time, and it's very far out of the money, so it's risky. Even when we looked at this play, it was pretty expensive when I bought it. I bought it for $1, but that play came back to life, and now it's going to be pretty volatile. Coming to the option chain so you can see it, you can see a little frog forming here, and what we look for with the frog is essentially for the option price to lag the stock price. So the yellow and red chart you see here is Airbnb, and the red and green is the option chart, but you can see how it's kind of lagged a little bit and was delaying, but this is why I like it, because we bought this for $1 a few days ago, the 260. The stock really didn't drop and started going up for a while, but you can see the option didn't really play along, and this thing was just going for 30 cents yesterday and even the day before that. So then all of a sudden it shoots up real fast to $1, comes back down, and then you saw it kind of come back today. So you can see this contract is very prone to losing value, and this is why I'm looking at it as a frog, because if Airbnb rockets, it's at those all-time highs there. Again, it's an IPO, so there's no real good data on it. It was talked a lot by a lot of people today, and we still have those long-term shares, so we'll see. But essentially, if it does get steam, these options could go crazy. Or at the same time now, even if Airbnb is kind of a good play for the end of the week, what we want to see is for these options to not go up in value while the stock rips, and they might create a lagging effect. So that's going to be the first play I'm going to be looking at. I'm already in that play. Again, I think it's interesting just for the option reasons, and it's at one of those IPO breakout levels, so we'll see. The next play, TLRY and CGC. Now, these are the bigger weed stock names. I'm not going to trade these. You know, my mom would kill me personally. So for the sake of mama answers and probably the sake of speculation, and some of y'all, you know how I feel on these. I am looking for a long-term investment on these, but I would want to wait for the actual policy. Again, it does seem like getting a strong political push for it, but until anything is set in stone, I've kind of heard this story before, so I'm waiting. However, these are going to be the bigger names. These are the ones that are probably either shorted or a lot of people are already active in. So I would be watching out for these, and then even look for some of the cheaper ones if you see the mania return. Again, when some of the bigger names start to rocket, you know, somebody's going to be the big winner of the GameStop. Everybody starts rushing into some of the cheaper ones, so keep your eyes out for those, because that's kind of how all of that FOMO bubble stuff, squeeze, whatever you want to call it, spreads. So that's going to be the second set of plays. I'm going to keep my eyes out for those tomorrow. The third play, Walgreens, and this one kind of had something interesting with the options, because we bought that play last week. Stock is getting up there and it's kind of breaking out, but the options are only up, I believe, like 20% or something. So you can see the stock went up 3% today. Again, Walgreens has just been moving a lot, but it's getting back to that levels when they added that new CEO from Amazon and all of that. So we've been holding those options already. We've even telegraphed this play. We were looking for this, but those options only went 22%. So I'm kind of looking for it to break out. Again, they have ex-dividend next week, so that could even contribute to some of the run-up. So we'll see what happens on there, but I really like that. And if it becomes this rotation winner, if the market acts a little weird, that could be even better, because in the midst of all of that stuff, they did pretty decent for the most part. So we'll see, but that's going to be the third play. And then finally, watch some of the leaps on the dip. So if we do start getting a weird squeeze effect, it leads to liquidation, anything of that, I would watch for some of these leaps to come down. And I talked about this today on stream. You could see it with these Uber calls. We're holding them. They shot up today. We've been holding these leaps. We made them free. But in November, these things were going for $1,500. We paid $1,350. You see they shot all the way up to $26. You know, only a couple $100 cheaper than where they're at right now after this big run up. But during the midst of kind of all of that drama, you see that they even shot back down to 18, not too much. So if there is any volatility or it's anything kind of attributed to an outside reason, I would watch some of these leaps on the dip, because then it can make some really good leaps very cheap, especially if they have good catalysts or especially on stocks that we want to own. So those are going to be the first set of plays. As far as everything else, I'm going to be watching, again, the weed stocks, all that. Watch Tesla. This was their worst day in a month. There was even a lot of put activity. And if you guys even remember, we have those old leap puts. I bought these a while ago. And again, I mean, you know, I get mad at Elon from time to time, but a lot of people were talking about the put activity and how it's doing. I don't know if they're talking on the short term. These are 3-year out puts, but we've held these for a while and like the price just hasn't changed. So I put $3,000 in these longer dated puts, but you can see they've only lost 5%. Very decent insurance plan for Tesla, if I must say, but that was their worst day today. They got some activity. I want to see how that plays out. Very interesting because of the Bitcoin stuff, but then again, Bitcoin did drop today, or it just didn't hold those impressive highs that it had the other day. But Tesla's probably going to start trading in line with Bitcoin here and there. Again, MSTR got clapped too, so watch them. Watch Toyota. Very, very big day. Toyota shouldn't move like this. We caught this news early, but the chain was all messed up. I believe they announced 3 electric vehicles in the United States this year. So again, EV news, and we were talking about how great the Camry was. So, it's up there. It's good. So watch them. Watch Square. Our play went up this morning. I thought it was down. We were able to make it free. Some of you had that good idea and way to act on your own with that. I said I was going to wait a little bit, and then all of a sudden it just dropped. So the play lasted for a little bit, but not really. I'm still going to be watching them. Watch DraftKings. Again, they had that bad news yesterday, and it was very aggressive, or 2 days ago. The fact that it's still held up and still approaching near these highs, I really, really like. So I'm still going to be keeping my eye out for them. Again, that is just the key level. And then Uber, their report was decent. It was somewhat like Lyft's report. Again, they just had the food delivery instead of just only rides. So that was a bright spot. Nothing too good, nothing too bad. Again, the Lyft one already kind of prefaced it for the whole market. So you're seeing this reaction after hours. Again, here's the last 5 days in that earnings run up. It might do what Snapchat did. So we'll see how that one plays out. We're going to watch for that continuation tomorrow. Zillow, I think they had news of some acquisition, but it was also their earnings. They killed it, up 10%. I haven't traded Zillow in a while, but this has also just been a monster tear. I'm sure even coming into Friday earnings continuation, this is going to be a good one. So I'm going to watch them. Watch Big Commerce. They hit that $90 level and then really sold off. But I'm also watching this in the context of any squeeze mania. If you start seeing that happen, just pay attention to some of those stocks that we were playing, even like Dropbox. I don't have it here, but you can see how those play out. Even Naked, I'm still holding those shares. It's shooting up after hours. It's holding all day. I'm not up 100%. Maybe at 100%, I will want to take it free, but we've even just held it through everything. So we are kind of positioned for the squeeze. And like I'm saying, it's affecting other stocks as well that kind of meet the criteria. You're getting some of that movement again. So that's what I'm looking out for. But that's also why I'm saying just pay attention to some of those other names. Even EasyGo was there, but that didn't break out like we were expecting. Still holding those shares. I didn't do anything with them. So watching them, watching Netflix, it was just the outperformer today. Again, any outperformers I would be looking at, especially with a day like today or even in the morning, you're just seeing some stuff reacted a lot better than others and just had more movement. But I like Netflix. Again, that's kind of one of those sympathy plays relative to the market. They've already had their earnings a while ago, so it's going to react a little bit differently or to other news. So watch them. Watch Coca-Cola. I was just surprised that they closed down. They had some good earnings, so see if there is a continuation. Again, just anytime a company report, there's always going to be that opportunity like the couple days after if it does start to move or settle into a move. So watch that. And then finally, TLT and UUP. TLT went up. UUP started going down. Not as much today, but this is what you could see this trend. The dollars now came back all the way to that level when that dollar drama started. So this was because of the GameStop stuff. We'll see what happens. And this does make sense though with the chart because it is converging with bonds. Remember, this is how it's supposed to look like. So the last 4 days here, bond rates came down off of those highs, but the dollar has been weakening like they should. A good way to see this is the visual. We overlay UUP. You can see how they kind of lead and lag, but usually they're supposed to converge with each other. So it's kind of in one of these scenarios where the dollar dropped as the rates were coming back up here. So you're kind of seeing that happen, and they're going to be able to find their equilibrium from there. And we're going to see where this puts us at, where the end of the quarter, the end of the season, and then go from there. So nothing has snitched just yet, but we got to keep our eye on it, and I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to do challenge, baby. Be obnoxiously positive. But the Cole loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the morning. Let's go.